Hello and welcome to the Stateside Soccer Show. My name is Jordan Wigand, and with me today is a man who is wallowing in some self pity. The Cubs are sucking. Orlando City is out of the playoff spots. Maybe a bright future for the Miami Dolphins. We'll see. Probably not. It's Logan Stump.
Hey, at least I've got Erling Haaland, or Holland, as some people call him, as most people call him. At least I have that going for me. I feel very zen with him in my cabinet. So he's not in my cabinet. He's playing, but I don't actually keep players hostages yet. But no, yeah, it's dude, it's hard being a sports fan right now. Nothing is going well. So at least you're
I
having
know.
fun.
I'm
You're
having
having
a
a
great
blast.
time.
You're one
Orioles in the
team.
wild
I was
card
gonna say,
hunt. We have Union besides this week being really competitive. Yeah, it's been good.
must be nice.
Good summer so far.
And your football team, I always feel is decent. So
They'll be competitive.
yeah,
I'm
it's really
loving
not
life.
fair.
Loving life.
Yeah,
I got the Wizards bringing me down. That's really the only thing
yeah,
bringing me down.
yeah.
Okay. We will get started. We got a pretty packed show. We also have um, a whole bunch of uh, goals to go through as well. If anybody ever watches the MLS like full
Hmm.
goal videos, usually
Mhm.
they're like 20, 30 minutes. This one was 58 minutes because of how many
That's
goals were
brutal.
scored. So we'll talk about that, of course. But we'll start off with some Americans abroad. I feel like we'll start with this because usually once we get into the MLS stuff, we don't ever go back to this. So I
Mhm.
figured let's get it out of the way early. Jesse Marsch gets his first win of the season for Leeds. Tyler Adams and Brendan Aronson start. Brendan Aronson scores a goal, but it's changed to an own goal incorrectly. Um, he said he felt it go off his shin. There's screenshots that show it goes off his shin, but whatever. And he was also voted like the fans player of the match.
Mhm.
So immediately making an impact, Brendan Aronson. And I think Tyler Adams was second most ground covered this opening weekend. So pretty good results for the U.S. players right off the bat here. And Brendan Aronson and what was I going to say? What word am I missing here? I was going to say endearing himself to the
Yeah.
fans of Leeds already with his work rate and always going to goals. So really great to see them both play pretty well. And for some reason, a lot of U.S. fans now are on the hate train of Tyler Adams for whatever reason. So
They're not going to be when he's in the World Cup because he's probably one of our most crucial players. I can't stand people that don't understand his importance to the team because just as important Weston McKennie is or Christian Pulisic, Tyler Adams, without him, I just don't think we can compete as well with some of these big teams. He does so much. Like you said, Jordan, it feels like every ball he's on top of. Like when he's playing that holding like defensive mid, it's like I can do everything back here on my own. I really need no help at all. Whereas like I feel like if Kellen Acosta's in that position, like you see a big drop off because I think Tyler ends up being one of our best players over the next 8 years or so.
I think too, it's just that it's not pretty. Like his game
Yeah.
style is not pretty. He's gonna go in there. He's gonna like try to get the ball moving quickly. He's gonna not like, he's gonna be a little like clearing it out sometimes. He's not always just gonna be
He
like
muddies
the
the water.
freestyle people want.
Yeah.
High work rate. Um, it doesn't take a lot of touches on the ball. I feel like that kind of stuff.
Brendan Aronson at 21 years old did not look like a 21-year-old. First half, he had a little bit of rocky start, but man, in that second
Really,
half,
I
he
thought he was
looked,
pretty good in the first half too. I
yeah,
mean, what I like about him is that even their goal, the
yeah.
equalizer, his work rate like helped create that.
Mhm.
Other people, as soon as they turn the ball over, might like let up. Somebody else turned the ball over, and he goes and starts challenging for it, and won it back. And then somebody else lost it again, and then they won it back again, and then so that doesn't happen without him. But yeah, I think a lot of people kept saying he's too, like, he's not strong enough for the EPL. He's going to get bumped off the ball. I didn't really see that in this. I felt like he looked pretty good coming right into this, and the Leeds fans, from what I read on their message boards, they love people that are going to continually just put the work in, and that's what he did. He was constantly pressuring. He has like just a engine on him where he can play a long time. He played like 80 some minutes. Got a standing ovation as he left the pitch. Like that's pretty awesome.
You don't see it a lot with Americans. That's what's cool about it too.
I think I saw Leeds fans say that Brendan Aronson is what Americans thought Pulisic was.
That's accurate, I think, because Christian's a good leader and stuff, but I don't think anybody works harder on the pitch than Brendan Aronson does, and I think his brother's just like him too, from what I've gathered. So like, it really is. I mean, it's you got to love that for the U.S. men's national team, because I feel like, with Timothy Weah, with Brendan Aronson, with Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Walker Zimmerman, right, Matt Turner, Serginho. Like, I feel like they've got a bunch of guys that just work their butts off. Like, we don't have the lollipop where it's just like, I don't want to do this. Like, honestly, we don't have like a Paul Pogba. Like, I don't ever see anybody become, because even people be like, oh well, Weston's caused problems. I was like, yeah, but that was off the pitch. After that was solved, he's been probably our best player. So I don't know. It's a lot of fun to watch. Now, again, Jordan, like we always talk about, what do you do with that number 9 spot? Can Timothy Weah possibly, fill into that kind of role, or are they going to look elsewhere and kind of hope to fill that with a typical striker? I don't know.
It's tough. I feel like he's got to be if he continues this, he's got to be a starter.
Yeah.
Because if people are saying like Pulisic's an automatic starter when he can't even get on the field for Chelsea, if Aronson is playing all the time for Leeds and he's looking this sharp, he's got to start.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to start. Timothy Weah is probably not going to play as much this season. That happens sometimes. And we got some bad news as well that Daryl DK got injured again.
Yeah.
Before today's championship games. So I think he's pretty much on the outs. I mean, he's constantly injured at this point, Daryl DK. And you could have put him on the right, you could have put him in the center, but I think, if we're looking for a number 9, I think PFOC is getting his name in there. He scored in the DFB Pokal, and he scored a really good goal in that one. And then he scored another really great header in the Union Berlin game this past weekend. Tough angle, and he just directs that into like the near, like the near post, beating the keeper. It was a pretty good header. That's where I'm probably thinking that we're gonna have to go if he keeps scoring. And before you could say, well, he was in like the Swiss league, he's in the Bundesliga now. And he's starting to score. Pepe wasn't scoring in the Bundesliga, so for me, I think it's gonna probably be PFOC as the number 9.
Yeah, I think we're finally getting our answers for some of these. Like I don't know if anybody saw Zach Steffen, but he had a disastrous game. I mean, just like
terrible.
You can't. There's nothing you can say for it. There's not even an excuse as to how horrible that was off the corner kick. So it just, I don't know. Like, you look at that and you go, even with Matt Turner on the bench for Arsenal, I still feel way more confident in him, just as a shot stopper, as somebody that just doesn't panic. And I feel like the more that time's gone on, the more Zach is kind of just becoming less and less reliable. So I don't know. He's had a lot of those instances at City. He has them all the time with the U.S. men's national team. He just gets caught out of position, and then he's not big enough to get caught out. Like, how some keepers are like big enough to like they'll just kind of knock people around, and like Fabianski for West Ham, because he was playing City this week. Like, he got hurt, but like even when he was out of position, he was just so big and so like strong that he just knocked you off the ball. I just feel like Steffen's
so tall, but you're right.
Yeah.
He's not like strong,
like a keeper. Yeah,
where he's going to come out and claim the ball.
Right.
When he does, he looks very apprehensive, and
Yeah.
that leads to the goals. And that's what happened in this game for where's it? Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
He just came out not very convincingly and gave up the goal. And he might be playing every week, but his stock is still dropping with Turner not playing every week. That's how bad Stefan has looked. I don't know. I think Greg probably still puts Stefan as the number one, just from his history with him. But who knows?
It was good to see Gio back. Gio's also back, so that's fun. Just he's the one I like. He's the X factor, in my opinion. If he can stay healthy, then we're a pretty dangerous team because we're just so deep with him. So, but yeah, no, it's good to see all the guys playing again. All of them except DK, healthy. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to kind of follow and see what exactly Greg decides to do with some of these spots.
Yeah, Pulisic got around I think 25 minutes or so. That's your Americans abroad, really. La Liga hasn't started yet, so no desk updates or anything like that. So
yeah, they're playing they played a friendly against who was it? It was Pumas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
In Barcelona.
Yeah, they killed him.
Yeah.
Did you see Lewandowski's goal? It was ridiculous. He just dribbled around the keeper okay, I'm going to just take a shot.
If only they could register him for the league.
Right. It was like a celebrity game because they have all these players they can't play in La Liga, but they can play exhibition. City has a friendly against them. It's like one of those weird mid-week exhibition games, and that might be the only games that they play for a month. That's wild to me.
Yeah, it's it's strange. Let's move on to the league, MLS. Some news here. All-Star captain is going to be Chicharito. That game takes place on August 10th at what time is it? I forgot to write that down. I'm looking. 8:30.
Yeah.
On ESPN. So there you go. 8:30 on ESPN. MLS All Stars versus Liga MX All Stars. When's the skills challenge? Do we know when that is?
I would think tomorrow, right?
That's what I would think. It doesn't say it on here. I'm trying to find news about the All-Star game.
Skills challenge is going to be... Why does that not have a date? That's August 9th. Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
August 9th, 7:30.
What channel is that on? ESPN still?
2.
Okay.
ESPN 2, yeah. It's on right after the Excel National Championships.
Oh, okay.
Did you see that? Did I send you that?
Yeah, you did. I think it's because they're doing their ESPN the Ocho stuff right now, aren't they?
They are. It was Pogo Stick the other day.
Yeah. So they're playing all this fake, real stuff, but for laughs because they're doing their tie-in with dodgeball 20 years later still.
At least Little League World Series is fun.
Yeah, the qualifiers are. I'm going to be up there. I'm going to be up there on the 20th and the 21st, catching as many Little League games as I can.
And if MLS is listening, just we're ready. We're ready to cover some skills challenge if you need anybody.
Yeah.
To cover.
Yeah, I'll have to fly out. I can fly out there tomorrow.
Yeah, right. It'll be fine.
You know what though? Next year it's in Audi Field. I could probably try to get skills challenge tickets.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Or they can have you host it. So
that's true. I could be out on the field being like, who's this kid? Everybody's like, who's this kid out here? So also some news that we had was that some transfers that happened over the deadline day. Right in under the wire was the Christian Benteke signing for DC United. 31 years old. In the 20-21 season, he had 10 goals for Crystal Palace. I think this is a great signing. He's not old. He still scores double-digit goals. I mean, we've seen what Chucho has been able to do here after scoring like 5 Premier League goals. The fact that we're gonna have like Benteke, who has scored 10,
Mm-hmm.
and he's still young. He's not like a Higuain age or anything. That is, I think, pretty special. And I did not see this coming at all.
No, I was shocked when they started reporting it. I'm like, because he's a really valuable piece on a Premier League team. Like he's easily a really good number 2 striker. And like you said, 31's not old in this league. I mean, it kind of reminds me of, like, you could say he kind of slots into that age frame of like a Carlos Vela. He was younger than Zlatan when Zlatan was here. And every time I've ever seen Christian play, Jordan, I think I've always been really impressed with him. I think he's a great striker. Like I think he finishes when he needs to. He puts his head down and just plays. I've always really enjoyed him, and I used to sign him on FIFA when he was younger because I like the name. But I think it's fantastic. Like I don't see. I just can't believe Rooney pulled this off. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think we got to give credit to the GM and stuff.
Nah,
But
Wayne Rooney.
But I think Wayne Rooney is what gets them the conversation. It's what gets them the foot in the door, I think, right? Because DC doesn't have any big draw like what you're gonna play where the president lives.
Dude, they got
Great.
the White House.
Right. I mean, but come on. Like
Gosh, man.
nobody's like
They've got the Pentagon, then the Smithsonian. Like, come on.
yeah. Well, the Smithsonian's fun. Yeah,
He
but I
might be a
mean,
good.
like,
Yeah.
I don't think Benteke on his off days is going to be like, let me check
A
out the White
reflection
House.
pond?
Like maybe once, but I don't think it's not like a place where all of the European stars want to go. So
Yeah,
the
that's
fact
true.
that Wayne Rooney is able to be like, hey, come here, that's probably part of it is playing for Wayne Rooney. And maybe I don't know. I don't know what kind of conversation gets him to come over. I was kind of surprised because this was right before the Palace started their season, so I was actually
Yeah.
really shocked that this happened. I didn't know if there was any hints that he was leaving Palace before this or not, but it kind of felt like it came out of nowhere because nobody broke it the day of either. It was the day after that Bogart said like, "Hey, this got in before 6 o'clock on deadline day," and there it is on Thursday or Friday, I think it was.
Yeah. I think rumors were that Ted Lasso was filming that day and they couldn't get access to the fax machine over
Yeah.
at Crystal Palace. But yeah, no. I mean, like you said, going from London to DC, I mean, London is a huge draw for a lot of those players. That's why a lot of players play in London. But I mean, kudos to them. I mean, this is huge. And we'll talk more about big signings because there's more coming, obviously, that we haven't talked about yet. But I mean, a lot of people are saying that the paradigm has shifted. Like you've got people like Jordan. Did you ever expect this year or even like this early that MLS would be negotiating with Premier League teams and La Liga teams like they are?
No, I mean the fact that we have in this one window Chiellini, Gareth Bale, and Benteke coming over, Wayne Rooney returning to MLS as a coach,
Puig.
and getting Puig right from Barcelona to LA Galaxy at his age. Now that one's not as surprising, honestly, because Barcelona has to offload people because they're in such a financial mess that
Right.
but still they could have sold him somewhere else. So I don't know. I think it's a free transfer because they actually ended up having to buy out his contract and he was a free agent or something. So I don't know. Like this window, I feel like we talked about it before this that in the coming years we would see more of this stuff. But I felt like this window had a lot of big moves for a lot of teams, and not just the big teams. Yes, I mentioned LAFC and LA Galaxy, but the fact that DC United has been Benteke, some of these other names that we're going to be reading from here as well. Minnesota made some big signings for DPs. Charlotte signed a defender from, League Two. But of course, the big signings this window were the Toronto signings, the LA Galaxy signing, the LAFC signings, which LAFC adding their DP striker they now have is Dennis Boanga
Mm-hmm.
from Saint Etienne, which was in Liga Un last year, but they got relegated. He had 9 goals and 6 assists last year. He's only 27 years old. I mean, I don't know. We're becoming a destination for some young players and even like close to 30 players that are either making the move for the money and like being able to try out here. And some of the young players that are going to come here and play for a few years and try to get another move that says I can still play here. Like I can still play.
Right.
I've been riding the bench or I've been in the youth squad and I feel like I need to go somewhere and prove I can play. Some of them are coming over here now instead of like other small European teams. And that helps the exposure of the league worldwide. We have this Apple deal that's going to be for worldwide people to tune in. You're going to need people to tune in. And if Bale stays past this year, which it sounds like he will, they had an interview with him on one of the big channels. Oh, it was during the League's Cup showcase. And he said, like, this is a great test, because we want to play in the Champions League, and this is how we would be playing next year in the Champions League. We would be playing these big teams. So he's already talking about next year in the Champions League. So that sounds like Bale's bought in to stick around for next year. I don't know, like that sounded pretty crazy to me. To get that confirmation that that's on his mind this early, and that he understands how our tournaments work, where he knows about the Champions League and he knows how it works. Like that's pretty cool to know. That he understands how this works. But I never thought it'd be this early. I don't know. I thought maybe these type of moves come in 2026 after we host a World Cup. It seems like we're kind of ahead of schedule for some of these.
Tides are changing.
There's rumors, too, that we might be adding DP spots next year to 5.
Yeah.
I saw rumors of that.
Could you imagine, like, some of these big clubs that get a hold of 5 DP spots? I mean, you're going to see a lot of money, and I think a lot of it, too, helps because the World Cup's this year. So, like, there's a lot of attention, and there's going to be even more attention in the next coming years as the World Cup shifts over here to North America and then Central. So it's like, man, this is going to be a lot of fun to kind of watch it steadily grow. And like you said, I mean, we're getting Lorenzo Insigne, on his, right, I guess in his prime, coming out of his prime, sort of. I mean, I think he's still young.
In his prime still, yeah.
So Gareth Bale, like you said, seemed to be interested in sticking around for quite some time. So, yeah, I mean, it's all pointing in the right direction. And then once this happens, the dominoes just start to fall because they're like, that's interesting. The United States is starting to get a lot of growth over there, and they know there's more growth opportunity here once this league gets going than there is maybe elsewhere, which is crazy because how long Premier League's been around. So.
Yeah, some of those signings that I was talking about as well is one for FC Cincinnati, U.S. men's national team defender Matt Miazga coming from Chelsea after being on the loan multiple times throughout his 6 years there or whatever it was. I think that's a pretty big move. That's one of those moves that's like, I can still play. Like, get me in the spotlight here. And, maybe he's still young enough. He's 27. He could make another move in his future. But if not, he can be a pretty solid acquisition for Cincinnati, who really need help on defense. Maybe not this week, but they really need to help with defense this season. And they, adding somebody like Matt Miazga, who has – good experience over in Europe and a national team defender. That bolsters their defense pretty well. We talked with Dave Denholm about Tajuri Shradi, who was injured. Well, LAFC trade him to the Revolution. I think that's a great pickup for the Revolution. They move on from Josie Altidore, who moved on to where'd he go? Like Argentina, I think?
Yeah, I think somewhere down south.
So, yeah, Josie left, and they bring in Tajuri Shradi, and I think that's a good move because Josie, I think, is just not at the level right now. I don't even know how many times he's played this year. He went to Puebla in Liga MX. That's where he went. He played 17 games this year. That doesn't sound right, but he did. 1 goal. Right? So Tajuri Shradi, yes, he had some injury history, but I think you're trading in for a younger player there. And LAFC trade in because now they bring in their designated forward, Dennis Boyunga, and probably no room for Tajuri Shradi there. So I don't know. I kind of like that worked out for everyone, I think.
LAFC's just grabbing goals, man. They're just grabbing more goals here.
They have to win Supporter Shield,
Yeah.
and they have to win MLS Cup, because if not, they're in some trouble. They are now 6 points up on Supporter Shield standings. They've won 5 in a row. Like, they're hitting their stride now. All right, let's. Any other of these signings stick out? I wrote them all down, but I don't know if we really need to talk about all of them. Sebastian Lletget goes from the Revs to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Minnesota United acquired Jonathan Gonzalez from Monterrey on loan.
RSL got Musovski, which
yes, from
he's been a pretty decent backup striker for LAFC. So to kind of step into what should be a starting role for him, because RSL really are missing a front guy that's going to score goals for him. I mean, maybe this is Danny's chance to get in and actually make a difference, because he's just kind of been stuck. And I do think he's decent. I don't think he's great. He didn't blow the world up, but I think RSL's in need of some goals, and sure, they can't afford to fall anymore, because if they do, they're going to be looking at on the outside in. After having such a good start, and then you ruined them because you visited them and then stole all their scarves or something.
Yeah,
they're cold now. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, we also had Charlotte FC are signing Nuno Santos from Benfica. RSL signed Brian Oviedo from Costa Rica. Richie Larea goes to Toronto FC from Nottingham Forest. So again, just some big signings that are coming on through. And we had some big trades. We talked about the trades a bit. Clement Diop from Miami goes to the Revs. So Revs kind of rebuilt themselves a bit here. We'll see if it helps them at all going in there. But I think we're ready to talk games. Are you ready to talk some games?
Yeah, let's do it.
So Tuesday, the Rapids faced the Red Bulls, and it was at Red Bull Arena. The Rapids win this one 5-4. It was a 2-0 lead for the Red Bulls in the first 9 minutes of the game, with Yearwood and Long scoring in the first 9 minutes. Then Rubio scored in the 21st minute to make it 2-1. Lewis Morgan puts a penalty away to make it 3-1 Red Bulls. Before the end of the first half, Keegan Rosenberry scores to make it 3-2. Jeez a whiz. Then you have it all kind of fall apart here. 77th minute, Warner scores. Barrio scores in the 80th. Torre scores in the 89th minute to make it 5-3. And then Barlow scores a penalty in the 90+7 to keep it a little interesting there. But it finishes 5-4. The possession ends up 51.2 to Colorado, 48.8 towards the Red Bulls. 17 shots for the Red Bulls, the 13 for the Rapids. Rapids had 8 on goal, though, to Red Bulls 6. Nice little midweek action there. Also on Tuesday was Seattle versus Dallas. Nico Lodero scored in the 39th minute on a penalty kick at Lumen Field to get Seattle a victory. Then on the Wednesday, we had Charlotte FC beat DC United 3-0. Those goals come from Birnbaum as an own goal, Swiderski in the 64th minute, and McNeil in the 67th minute. Montreal beat the Crew 2-1. Zelarayan scores 14 minutes in, and then Montreal comes in the 88th minute to equalize it. Kamara and Waterman in the 90+4 to give Montreal the win. We also had Portland versus Nashville. That finished 1-1. Teal Bunbury in the 20th minute. Moreno in the 27th. Miami beat San Jose 1-0, 12 minutes in. That goes to Jean Mota Oliveira de Souza. Then we had the League's Cup Showcase. LA Galaxy beat Chivas, former rivals, right? Chivas USA. But this was Chivas Guadalajara. Jovic in the 28th minute and Perez in the 62nd. That was at SoFi Stadium. Club America top LAFC in a 0-0 match in penalty kicks, 6-5. There's your midweek action. League's Cup Showcase was fun, but Galaxy win that one and then lose their most important game, which is on the weekend. Vancouver.
Were they playing Barcelona? That's the most important game in the world.
Yeah. If you're Inter Miami, that's the biggest game ever. Fafa Picault scored on Friday, 6 minutes in to give Houston give Houston a victory, give Houston the lead. But in the 88th minute, Becker scores for Vancouver. Cavallini scores 90+2 for late victory from Vancouver at BC Place. I was watching the tail end of that game Friday night. I forget where I went on Friday. I feel like I was out somewhere and then came home in the middle of that game, but I don't think I left the house, so I don't know anymore. I'll get to that age where I don't know. I don't know what I did on Friday. Saturday, we had Atlanta beat Seattle 2-1. Cisneros scored 23 minutes in for Atlanta. Christian Roldan equalized in the 68th minute, but it's the Gutman goal in the 90+4 that gives them the victory. It was a rocket, probably goal of the week. And I would also say, I think from what I heard on the broadcast, this is the first time Atlanta has ever beaten Seattle. I can verify that. But what was your thoughts on Atlanta United getting one over here on Seattle?
Much needed. Joseph had a baby boy. No, he's having a baby boy. I should mention that. But
yes,
I think it's huge for Atlanta because they've just been in disarray. I mean, we've talked about how disappointing this team has been. Whether that's lack of having fit players all the time, lack of just ownership being aware of what's going on in the situation that they're having with Atlanta. But again, I mean, it's a good win. Do I think it really changes anything? No. I just think this team is in a world of hurt. This organization's in a world of hurt. And like you and I have talked about, I think it's a couple years off that they even have a chance to compete again, I think. I mean, I just feel like this team is far away from being competitive, and I don't think anything's going to change unless the front office kind of has a change of heart. And Bocanegra is not, he's not a guy. I did see something written about the fact that he just seems so unaware of the decisions that he's making based on the performances that they put out. Like he just seems so clueless, I guess, on how to build a team now. And they've tried to build this thing so much around Joseph and structure the team so much around Joseph that they've lost complete focus on how to build outside of that. And when Joseph isn't Joseph, that's why this team just kind of implodes. Which, I mean, I feel like that's accurate. Like I feel like we sit here and we talk about it all the time, but this team is built for him to be successful, and he's just not that player anymore. So it's going to be tough. Atlanta's got to cut ties, I think, and not really ever having a full Joseph Martinez. I mean, he's had one good season now because he's always hurt, and he's never really relevant because he's always hurt. So we talk about how special he is, Jordan, but I mean, I've never really been able to see it just because he's not healthy.
I mean, he still got 5 goals this year, 3 assists.
Yeah.
He had 12 last year. He's not going to have the 31 or 27 goal seasons again, I don't think. But he's played 16 games this year, 24 last year, so he scored 1 in every other game last year.
Yeah.
2020 he missed because he got injured first game. All right, I was able to confirm, yes, Seattle had never lost to Atlanta until this weekend. And actually, this is the most even matchup in MLS history, I would think. I don't have the time to research that. But looking at this, they each have 1 win, they each have 3 draws, and each have 1 loss, and they've each scored a total of 5 goals. in these matchups. So pretty dead on. But yes, this was one team that Atlanta had not beat yet. They've only played each other 5 times because, them being cross conferences. But and for a while, 2020 they didn't play anybody not in their conference. Last year they only played each other once. This year they're only, I think, playing each other once. So they won't play each other a lot. But yeah, just some fun stats there. Okay, what other games did we have here? So that was the first game of Saturday. We had Charlotte and Chicago in Bank of America Stadium. Charlotte took an early lead 1 minute in here. Reyna scoring. And then Shabilko equalizing in the 21st minute. Navarro taking the lead in the 24th minute. Swiderski equalizing at the 45th. Then they go into halftime. They come out of halftime, and Kasper Shabilko in the 52nd minute to give Chicago a much-needed road win for Chicago. That currently puts Chicago in a playoff spot, Logan. They're in 7th place. They have not lost in their last 5. Shabilko still leads the team with goals with 5, so they're not scoring a lot. But they are, I guess, doing enough.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess you have teams that do this. I guess RSL would be my comparison from last year. Just kind of stumbling and bumbling their way in, collect points when you can. They're not. I guess the thing is, Jordan, they're not atrocious defensively. Like, they're not the worst thing. Nor are they the best in scoring goals. They're actually one of the worst. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like I guess it's the only sport really, Jordan, that you can kind of stumble backwards into a playoff spot. Like, I feel like unless it's like, kind of like baseball has the divisions and you have a really bad division one year where you can have teams that win 70 games and get in. But like, I feel like this is the same kind of thing with the playoffs. You have these teams. And I would say, Jordan, that the East below them is just brutal right now. Like, they're horrible to watch. So, I mean, I think Chicago's pretty set. Like, if they can
especially
just
the team right below them.
Right, they suck. But like, I'm looking at it going, it's I would rate it highly, like, likely that Chicago makes the playoffs just because of how bad the teams below them are. And Chicago seems like they can collect points here, points there, and points here, and points there, and sometimes they'll get a win. But doing enough. I like what you said. Chicago is doing enough.
Which is good. They started out like bottom at one point in this season. I wish, what? I think I might be able to actually figure out like
When
their
they were
placements throughout the season so far. Will it tell me what place they were in? No, it doesn't. I was hoping on like the match report stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not forget, there was a time from April 9th to May 28th, Logan, where they had not won a game. Actually, scratch that. April 2nd through May 28th, where they had not won a game. They had 3 draws and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses during that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably when they were like bottom of the East, I feel like.
Yeah.
Since then, they've lost 3 games. They've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and drawn once since May 28th. So they're, like we said, they're doing enough. They've turned it around a bit. Their attendance is, I don't know, not super great. But
Shaqiri's been better too.
Yes,
That's
he
helped.
has. Yeah.
I mean, he's helping
he had
create.
like a really good pass in this game.
Yeah, he's helping create, which, I mean, that was huge, right? We talked about how big he could possibly be. We just didn't know because, I mean, I think he's kind of like the workman over in Europe, and he'd always kind of like bounce around on teams. And we knew he was talented, but it wasn't until recent that he just kind of stepped into his own. He's got 6 assists and 5 goals. Like, that's pretty decent. So, I don't know. I think he's finally getting comfortable. And like we said, it does take like an adjustment period. I feel like the only one that hasn't really are those big time star. Like I don't think like Gareth Bale seems to have, he's talented enough where he can just do things that other people just can't, and that makes up for the adjustments that need to be made. So.
Alrighty. Cincinnati beat the Union 3-1. These goals happen in the second half. All of them do. Brandon Vasquez in the 50th, Brenner in the 55th, Barreal in the 71st, and Paxton Aronson in the 77th. This was just Cincy shredding the Philadelphia defense. Not good games from Elliott and Glesnes and El Brujo. Like none of those players played particularly well. What was fun was Paxton scoring the same day his brother is. If you just don't take that goal away from Brendan Aronson, but both of them having pretty big Saturdays. As parents, you got to be probably pretty proud if you're their parents. But just glad to see Paxton get on the field, score a goal. On Cincy's end of it, this is exactly what they needed. Everybody was kind of counting them out. I know Union Twitter was like, we're going to beat these guys. And that did not happen. Brandon Vasquez with 14 goals on the year. Cincy had not won in their last 5. This is their one win in their last 5. They had a draw, a loss, and 2 other draws before getting this win. And this puts them 6th in the East. They are 1 point shy of 5th, and they're only 5 points shy of a home playoff game, which I think it'd be pretty cool seeing West End Stadium in the playoffs.
Yeah, and we just praised the Union on how good their defense looked. That's all we talked about
it's
last
the curse.
Week. It is.
It's the curse that we give teams.
Right. And it's Pat Noonan, too. Like, I feel like, if somebody's going to beat you like that, usually it's usually one of your own, which is weird.
Somebody that knows how you play and knows how to beat you. Yes. Yeah.
They've got the keys to unlock it. Like, it seems like it's easier for coaches coming back, and they can have bad teams, but they just seem to know exactly what kind of system Jim Curtin's not going to change drastically, but Pat Noonan can step in and go, I can throw some real curveballs here because I know how to get through this defense. Like, I know their weaknesses, and I think that helps some. And obviously, Philadelphia's a good team, and you didn't expect them to just keep running through the league like they were. So this is a little bit of a bump, but nothing that I think – I'd be way more excited about this as a Cincy fan, like you said. The way that Red Bull are playing, maybe you can catch them. We're 10 games away now from the end of the season. So,
yeah,
it's realistic that, like you said, making that jump is not hard in the East. So, go for it. I'd be so excited for all of our Weigels.
Lower.com Field hosted the Columbus Crew facing off against NYCFC, and an own goal 3 minutes in off of Mensah gave NYCFC the lead, but then we had Chucho scoring in the 20th minute, Zelarayan in the 27th, and Zelarayan again in the 75th minute, and Pereira dos Santos in the 64th for NYCFC. So what was really interesting, Chucho is on fire right now. Also, what you had is a really bad giveaway from Sean Johnson to Zelarayan, who's going to score the go-ahead goal at that time. But the winning goal is coming from Zelarayan as well later in the game.
I think the Crew
they're up there.
Yeah, they're a huge threat.
5th place. We were just talking about not that long ago, he was on the hot seat, right? Or most people thought he was. We kind of said he wasn't because of winning MLS Cup a few years ago. But 5th place, they got a game in hand too, and they're only 4 points back of the Red Bulls.
Zelarayan looks really good. That's been a huge change because he was just kind of sitting in the weeds. And he's one of those players. He's like Carlos Heel. Like, if you get them going, there's a big shift. And finally, Jordan, we're finally getting to see what this team's made of. It's been a year and a half or more. So, we know this team's talented from top to bottom. And then you had Chucho in, right? It just feels like it's coming together for Caleb Porter, and we know how dangerous he can be in the playoffs if he gets in him. So I don't know. And then you don't want to play a home game against the Crew in the playoffs. That just doesn't sound fun.
No, you would not. DC faced off against the Red Bulls at Audi Field. That finished 0-0. The only 0-0 of the day. We had Kyoto scoring in the 5th minute for Montreal. Really great goal, too.
Mm-hmm.
Volley. Then in the 6th minute, Higuain scores a good goal. And then Kyoto converts a penalty in the 21st minute. And then Rodriguez scoring in the 79th for Miami to finish 2-2. What I would say is during the crew highlights on that video, I know we only have one more year of this because we're going to Apple TV and they're not going to have like local broadcasters. But like when I watch MLB highlights of a game, it'll flip between the two commentators and showing me, okay, this is like the Orioles commentators on this Oriole home run, but if Tampa hits a home run, it's Tampa announcers.
Mm-hmm.
On this, it's not that way. So, like, that goal that was scored, I think it was by the Crew, by Chucho Hernandez. I think it was that one. Happened. It was a Crew broadcast. No, you know what it was? It's Crew broadcast, but City scored first. And they were not excited, like, at all. You know? And I was like, I get it, because it's not their team. But I was like, for a highlight package, you think you would want like, all right, we'll show the NYCFC broadcast for the first goal. We'll switch to the Crew broadcast for the Crew goals, and we'll switch back to NYCFC broadcast for the NYCFC goals to make everybody like get the best announcers. Like the highlights for Montreal, Miami were from the Miami broadcast.
Yeah.
And like they were pretty fair with Kyoto's goal and all that kind of stuff, but you're like, man, I wonder what it'd be like if we had like the local announcers, you know, on these highlight packages instead of like just picking one broadcast and being like, that's the one we're taking all the highlights from. I know it's more work, but like, come on. People want to see like their broadcaster and like get the excitement of the call and not like a goal gets scored on the Crew broadcast and be like, oh, that's a early goal here for City.
Yeah. Well.
All right. The Revs just dismantle Orlando which is the fortress for every other team except Orlando. Exploria Stadium. Polster in the 20th minute, Kapatum in the 51st, and Kessler in the 75th. Orlando had more possession. They had more shots. They just can't score. They don't have that. I don't know. We talked about it last week. They don't have the playmaker or the difference maker, I think.
Their defense has been awful, too. Like, it used to be a strong point for this team.
Bagel.
Yeah. Ever since Antonio Carlos got hurt last year, it's been tough sledding for this defense. And El Pupil is one of the best goalkeepers. So, it just doesn't make sense. There's a lot wrong. Unfortunately, I do think Oscar is going to get into some danger. Not maybe for this season, but, I mean, over the last, year now, Jordan? I mean, they've just been, like, stuck in mud. And there's just not any change. Like, I just feel like there's just – like, they're the same team, subtract Nani. Like, it just feels strange. I don't like it. And you should never lose at home like this. Like, they are on they're just on a tear of just losing, and not like, just getting beat. I mean, they're losing. Like, they are giving games.
3 in a row.
Yes.
3 in a row, 2 draws before this. They haven't won in a while. I'm looking up how many home wins they have and how many home losses they have, because I feel like we joke about it a lot, but it is a lot. Second game of the season was a loss at home. All right, here we go. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 home losses.
Mm-hmm. That's most in the East. Yeah, that's most in the East. And
I mean, they only have 10 losses.
That's most in the league.
7 of them are at
That's
home.
most in the league, yeah. That is most in the league behind Sporting Kansas City, which they're 6th. They have 6. So
And how many wins are at home? 1,
5.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so if you go to a game in Exploria, why most fans don't right now, you're more likely going to see them lose than you're going to see them win.
Right. And they've
How
only
many
won 3
draws at
times on the
home?
road.
None?
None.
No draws at
No.
home.
No, they don't draw.
So you got like a
50-50 chance.
60-40 chance of
Right.
seeing a loss.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Let's be honest. That's true.
Oh, boy. That's no good. They're now out of a playoff spot, Logan. They're in 8th place of the
I told you they're going to miss the playoffs. I told you this. I don't know how, but you're going to.
When was their last win? Their last win, if it's not in the
God.
last 5.
It's
Okay, it's the 6th game. It was against Miami at home.
Okay. Did they mean to do that? Like, did they mean to win?
No, they did not. It was a 1-0 win.
Oh, yeah, okay. I think it might have been an own goal. Check that. I may be right. Is it an own goal?
Oh, I don't know.
I felt like it was.
Let me pull it up.
Like, I feel like that was a thing.
It was a own goal in the 90th plus 2.
So.
That's right. That's right. That would have been their first home draw.
Except they have the other team scoring for them.
Here's the thing, too. All right. I'm looking at scores here. You talk about their defense.
Yeah.
They've had, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clean sheets? 7 clean sheets. Sorry. We've had, Orlando has had, so like 7 clean sheets. And in all those games that they win, it's either like a 1-0, 2-1, 2-0. It's not a lot of 2-0s. It's a lot of 2-1s, 1-0 type results. They're not scoring a lot. They're not getting a lot of zeros either. It's, I don't know. It's tough.
They've given up 23 goals at home, which is the most in the league. The only teams that are even close to them are like San Jose with 22. They got 20 and 20 with DC and Inter. But after that, Jordan, I mean, you have to go to like 17 or 16. Toronto, 19. But I mean, that's just so bad. 23 goals given up at home. And you can't score. So, like, you can't give up goals if you can't score.
So 23 at home, right?
Yeah.
They've only given up 36 on the year. So they've only given up 13 on the road?
Yes. They're almost even. They've almost broken even on goal differential on the road. And they were an awful road team last year.
It's very likely for them to slip to 12th place. I'm looking at Atlanta, Charlotte, New England, and Miami are behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 2 points separating them from 12th place. Just 2 points. Atlanta has a game in hand. So does New England. New England gained some ground due to beating them 3-0. Now, again, there's also only no points separating them behind Chicago. They just need better goal differential or whatever, and they're up there. But I don't know. I feel like the way they're trending, it's going to be more like a down. Erkan Kara leads the team in goals with 7. They're not getting a lot of goals. And they don't have the defense to keep them into games. Like, Crew also don't have a lot of goals, 31, but they have only given up 26. So they're in the they're in the black with that, right? They've got a positive goal differential. And even then, Cincy and Chicago have a -3 goal differential to Orlando's -9. It's possible for the Revs to leapfrog them. The Revs have a +1 goal differential. If all those teams start doing better than Orlando and Orlando keeps slipping, again, it's very real that they finish 12th. They could finish 13th with the way that Toronto has all these brand new signings too. I mean, that would be insane. I don't think that'll happen. But
No,
what happens if it does? Because this is a new regime. This is a new ownership. What would you do?
not buy tickets, and that's what people are not doing. They're not buying tickets to go see this.
12,000 average
Right.
attendance.
I don't know. It's a mess. And it's really bad because I just don't know how much of it that's left you'd really want. Facundo Torres is good. Eric Ankara, I think, will have an even better second year. But after that, I mean, you gotta look at this team and go, okay, well,
It needs a full dismantle at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like
yeah.
it's not what you want when you're 3 years into 3 years into a project with Perea. Is you don't want to be now we have to blow up the team.
Right. Because this is borderline embarrassing.
Not borderline. It's embarrassing.
It is. They've come crashing down.
They were at one place third place,
Yes,
early
third
in the
and
season.
fourth, yep.
And they stuck there for a while.
Because Montreal was going through the Mihailovic injury. And last year they did this too. Remember, they were lucky.
Not to this extreme, but yeah.
No, but lucky. They caught the bottom of the playoffs. They were almost not in the playoffs. Montreal would have done damage to them.
And the bad thing is that the transfer window is over, so you can't even bring in anybody to help right now.
Right.
This is your squad, and the fact that they're trending downward, you don't have that person that's going to come in and boost them.
I mean, Giacchini or whatever. How do you say that? How do you say his name? Giacchini.
Who are you talking about?
Nicholas Giacchini.
Why
am I blanking?
I was like, who are you talking about? Yeah, Giacchini. Yeah,
Giacchini. Right. I mean, but he's not.
That's
I don't
though.
think he's
but
gonna
he's not
splash.
Yeah, it's not like
Nani.
Look, there's teams bringing in the Gareth Bales and the Insignes and
Chiellini.
All these players. I mean, the DC got Benteke. Orlando is a destination. I mean, I feel like that is somewhere that could get people. It's not far from Miami. They also have the theme parks. I feel like that would be a destination for overseas players, but I don't know.
We have Pato.
Yeah. You get the Brazilians. That's all you get.
And ones that aren't any good. It's they're not good.
Toronto beat Nashville 4-3 with Osorio in the 19th minute, Mukhtar tying it up in the 41st, Osorio scoring in the 44th, Teal Bunbury scoring in the 45th +4, then Bernadeschi scoring in the 54th minute as a penalty kick, Insigne scoring in the 77th minute, and then Walker Zimmerman pulling one back in the 84th minute. So both Bernadeschi and Insigne getting on the scorecard for Toronto.
They're going to be good.
Nashville kind of going through some stuff. They have not won in their last 5 games, but still in a playoff spot. So 6th place.
Toronto's going to be scary good next year.
Oh yeah, next year. Yep. I think they can sneak into the playoffs still if they.
I mean it's reasonable.
But
how bad the East is.
If not, they'll have all of next year to really build up for it.
That's exciting.
Yeah, one less spot for Orlando to get.
All right, exactly.
Let's talk about this one. SKC smash LA Galaxy 4-2. This happened. It was a 3-0 SKC lead before LA scored in the 83rd minute and the 90+2. Then it makes it 3-2, and you're like, uh-oh. SKC might blow this thing. But then Salaway makes it 90+5th minute, gets the goal that puts them away. And Chicharito is the one that scored the 2 goals for LA Galaxy. Just not enough to get them going. LA Galaxy sit 9th. theirs is like a loss sandwich. They have 2 losses, a win, and 2 losses in their last 5. So
I thought
great.
you were calling them a lost sandwich. I was like, yeah, that's how bad they've been.
Yeah, well, you know what? They kind of are. I feel like they're, if you're talking about like a lost sandwich is like, oh man, I was really looking forward to getting in the playoffs this year, and now we lost it again. Like I was really looking forward to eating this sandwich, and then it's lost now, and I can't eat it. Yeah.
You have your Ross moment.
Yeah. My sandwich. Just
okay, Jordan. I got a question for you. Who would you rather be? Which situation, Orlando or Galaxy?
Ross. Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, but they're like in the exact same spot. Like I feel like they're like the exact same team.
Who would I rather be, Orlando or LA?
Or LA, yeah. Right now, like project wise.
I'd rather be LA.
That's what I'm thinking.
Now, if I'm a fan, I'd rather be Orlando. And the reason I say that is because I feel like the pressure is on LA more. So, like, if I'm a fan of LA Galaxy and we've won 5 MLS Cups, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Right.
Now, Orlando fan, you're like, sounds about right? So
like, it's pretty normal.
You're like, all right, whatever.
This isn't fun.
Guess I'll watch the Magic for a week before they stink.
Oh man!
But if you're like project wise, Galaxy bringing in like Puig and like I don't know. I feel like
and they'll
still have a chance next year and like possibly this year to get in there. And I'm feeling Orlando without bringing any big players in. I'm like, there's no project currently in Orlando.
Right.
It's like Orlando's waiting until the day before the papers due to try to get in there. And that's not what you want to leave it like.
I just hope that this isn't a signal to the Wilf family to be like, how it can make you hesitant to want to spend money. I hope that this isn't happening here.
Well, if they do that after 1 year, then they shouldn't be owning a team
anymore. Well, yeah. But you know what it's like being a billionaire.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And like, those purse strings start to tighten up on you.
Yeah. I mean, our team, Philly, I mean, they have tight purse strings and they are constantly competitive. So I mean,
they're out there.
That's kind of like the owner is like, still don't want to spend.
Right.
Austin drew with San Jose 3-3 at Q2 Stadium. It was 3 minutes in, Cascante scoring for Austin, Kikonovic scoring for San Jose in the 8th minute. Then Marie, is that how you pronounce that? 20 minute in for San Jose, Driussi in the 26th minute, Driussi taking the lead in the 44th, and Ebobisse scoring in the 88th minute. San Jose had more possession too and just had less shots. So San Jose played pretty well on the road there. You'd think they're Orlando with the way they're playing on the road there.
Oh, yeah.
San Jose.
Yeah. Big stars.
By the way, San Jose has not won in their last 5 either.
Comparing us to San Jose.
What are you doing to your mic?
What? Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Sorry. I was like fumbling with it.
Oh, okay.
It was like on my never mind. It's fine. I think it's this mic, isn't it? Is it this one? Or is it this?
I can't hear that.
Okay.
I don't know what you did there. I can't hear you tap on either of them.
It's strange.
Just sit still. We're almost done. Rapids beat Minnesota 4-3. So earlier in the week, they beat Red Bulls like 5-4, and then they beat Minnesota 4-3. Rapids are starting to score some. Jassy Zardes, who got traded over there earlier this season, had a hat trick. Woo. But Dunlawdy scored 4 minutes in to give Minnesota fans a little bit of hope early on here, and then Zardes kills it. 7th minute, he ties it. Rubio in the 11th minute. Zardes in the 15th minute, and you're like, okay, it's 3-1 already. Now, I wasn't home for this game, but I'm following along with it while I'm at this like gathering. And I'm like, oh, Minnesota scored pretty early. That's pretty interesting. Then I check and it's 3-1. And I'm like, what just happened? Then Zardes scores in the 61st minute after Amarilla gave them a little bit more hope again. He made it 3-2. Amarilla did in the 43rd minute. Zardes makes it 4-2. And then Kallman in the 81st minute makes it 4-3. Crazy game. Home game for the Rapids. Good result for them. LAFC beat RSL 4-1. Just the bad juju I gave them at Rio Tinto has continued. Arango scoring in the 9th minute. Cordova equalizing in the 12th. Then Kellen Acosta in the 17th minute. Arango in the 60th. And Gareth Bale scoring a beautiful goal in the 87th minute. So Bale, what is that? 2 goals already for Gareth Bale?
Yeah. My only argument, Jordan, is they called it world class. I was like, is it because he's a world class player they called it world class? Because it wasn't like, I don't know. I've seen a lot better. I think it was just like, okay, like it was a good goal, but it was like, I don't know, like LAFC goes world class goal by Gareth Bale, and I'm sitting there going, I've seen a lot of players do that. Like I've seen defenders do that. Like I don't know if it makes it world class. Like world class, I'm thinking more of like some like screamer or like incredibly difficult angles, not like on his left foot methodically slotting it in behind the goalkeeper. I don't know. He's a great player though. But
I think what it is where he gets the ball, the dribbling, the beating the defenders, cutting in, and then putting it onto his left foot. Yeah. So I would say yes, world class.
Yeah. But the other thing too, though, with him, I will say this: he's one of the best at doing exactly that. Like I feel like I've seen so many highlights of him taking the ball from places you're going, yeah, no way, and he kind of figures it out just very slowly, and it almost like he chips it. It's like like almost like golf, he chips it. So maybe that's why he's so good at it. But I really, it does stink every time I watch him play. I'm like, remember when they were like thinking he would be the next Messi? Like that's how highly they thought of him.
Nobody thought he was the next.
Oh yeah, I did.
No, you did. Yeah. Okay, well there you go.
Remember when everybody like me thought that he was like the next Messi? Messi.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody like seriously.
Okay, world class talent, Jordan.
Yes,
world. They thought he was like top 5 players in the world, and he never turned out to be that.
Well, if Real Madrid actually played him, I think he could have.
Do you think that was some of Ronaldo? We could get in that forever, but
I don't know.
What are your thoughts on Cristiano Ronaldo, Jordan?
My thought on that is that Portland and Dallas played on Saturday night. This game went 0-0 into the 90+5th minute. 90+6 minute, Loria scoring for Portland, and then Chara scoring for Dallas, an own goal. All right, Diego Chara, own goal. 90+10 minutes for a 1-1 draw at Providence Park for Portland and Dallas. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with the East. Philadelphia in first with 45 points. NYCFC in second with 42 and a game in hand. Montreal in third with 40. Red Bulls in fourth with 37. Crew in fifth with 33. Cincinnati in sixth with 32. Chicago in seventh with 30. Orlando in eighth with 30. Miami in ninth with 30. Revs in 10th with 30. Charlotte in 11th with 29, Atlanta in 12th with 28, Toronto in 13th with 26, and DC United in 14th with 22 points. Over on the West, LAFC lead the Supporter Shield standings and the Western Conference with 51 points and a game in hand. Austin in second with 45, Dallas in third with 36. They've played 2 extra games than LAFC. Minnesota in fourth with 35. RSL in fifth with 34. Nashville in sixth with 33. Portland in seventh with 33. Seattle in eighth with 32. LA Galaxy in ninth with 30. Rapids in 10th with 30. Vancouver in 11th with 30. Houston Dynamo in 12th with 25. San Jose in 13th with 24. and SKC in 14th with 23 points. You know what that means? DC United is now in charge of the wooden spoon. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and hit that game of the week preview.
It's time for the match of the week preview.
All right, match of the week previews where we tell you what games are coming up this week and what you should watch. So Wednesday, August 10th is MLS All Star Game versus Liga MX All Stars at Allianz Field in Minnesota. ESPN and Unimas has the games there. On Saturday, we have the Red Bulls hosting Orlando at Red Bull Arena. Away game might be a win for Orlando. Cincinnati hosting Atlanta at 7:30 at TQL Stadium. New England hosting DC at 7:30. Philadelphia hosting Chicago at 7:30. Toronto hosting Portland at 7:30. Miami hosting NYCFC at 8 o'clock. Austin hosting Kansas City at 9 o'clock. Colorado hosting Columbus at 9 o'clock. Dallas hosting San Jose at 9 o'clock. Houston hosting Montreal at 9 o'clock. LA Galaxy hosting Vancouver at 10. LAFC hosting Charlotte at 10:30. On Sunday, we have two late games. 9 o'clock, Nashville hosting Minnesota on FS1. And Seattle hosting RSL at 10 o'clock. That one is not on national television. And I apologize, RSL, ahead of time. All right, so those are our games. What games are you picking for the match of the week preview, Logan?
Pass. These suck. Gosh, there's really not much. I mean, the one that stands out to me only because it's got playoff implications would be the Nashville Minnesota game. I don't know.
It's a nice one.
Yeah, like I feel like it's at Nashville. So it's going to be past my bedtime, but Nashville, I mean, Nashville need a win, right? I mean, they really struggled to get a win in the last 5, haven't gotten one, lost 2 in the last 5, drew with 3. So really just kind of hanging out in that 6th spot in the playoffs. And like we said, Jordan, I mean, they're only, a bad game away from, and not even, I mean, holy crap, the teams below them have a ton of games in hand. So Nashville needs this. Like, I mean,
yeah, they
there's a good
25, yeah.
Right. There's a good chance they lose this week. I mean, you could really see some shifting and them fall. I mean, heck, they can fall all the way down into like the 10th spot, 11th spot. Yeah, 11th maybe. So, yeah, that can be rough. I mean, it really just depends on how the rest of the teams play and where they match up and stuff. But I think that's a crucial game for Nashville. And then you got Minnesota, who's kind of sitting pretty here. They've got a home playoff spot. Couple tough games last 2 out, but that being said, I don't know, they're playing a little bit better than I thought they were going to be playing this year. So to get a win here and then kind of sneak closer to Dallas if they could, or jump over them, I mean, this is huge for Minnesota. And like we said, I mean, this is one of those teams last year that we thought were going to be really deep, maybe a dark horse. It's time that Minnesota kind of steps in and see, well, are they really, that team that we thought that they were going to be. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Nashville can't lose. I mean, they're getting to a point, like you said, they got 25 games in hand, which not many teams do.
No, they don't have 25 games in hand.
Or sorry, yeah,
they played 25.
Right. They have 25. They own 25 games. They have 25 games. They're just starting their season, Jordan. Good Lord.
For whatever reason, they just could not play until now.
They had like stadium issues. I don't know, but yes, 25 games, and the teams below them all have like 23 or 4. So. Can't afford a loss.
Yeah, that's a good game. I'm going to go ahead and say Philadelphia, Chicago should be pretty interesting. I'm not saying this as a Philly fan, but just Philly top of the East still. They just had an embarrassing loss to Cincinnati. They have former players now also on Chicago. Chicago has not lost in their last 5. Can Chicago keep the momentum going? Or is this like Philly is now back at home and they're going to shut this team down and get the 3 points? That's what I'm leaning towards, but just interesting. See how it goes. Okay. Anything else before we head out of? Oh, you know what I want to ask you? All right, All Star Game predictions here. MLS won last year. We have 2 years in a row.
Yes. I'm going to go 3-2. MLS All Stars.
3-2?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go 2-1. How about that? MLS All Stars winning. They did win last year, right?
Yeah, I think so. We were talking about how
the
they
skills
won that.
challenge we lost, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we won on penalties. Okay.
I was going to say, because we were talking about that along with the fact that we just own Eltree now. So
Yeah, that's right.
they've basically become property of us. So it's all right. U.S. soccer's coming, and we don't intend to give it back unless Canada's there. Then we'll give it to you.
Don't forget, we have the
like the phenom guy, right? He's like the LeBron James of soccer.
Yeah,
Brendan Aronson. Yep. Great minds. All right. I think that wraps us up. If you want to follow us on all of our platforms, at Stateside Show, stateside@gmail.com. That's where you can find us. YouTube, search Stateside Soccer Show. You'll find us. All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching or listening. And we will catch you all next week when we talk MLS All Star Game wrap-up, the weekend action, and look ahead to some more midweek and weekend action for the rest of the time. We only, usually All-Star games happen mid-year. This is happening with like 10 games left. So we are on the home stretch now, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Jordan, I would tell you that Orlando's a good home team, but I'd be lying.
Oh, jeez, that's bad. Just going to end it now.